Welcome in. And I have been looking forward to today. I don't know about you, Hayley, but I've been looking forward to today since, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago when we decided to do this interview.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been at the forefront of my mind. I've been really excited about it. And I see lots of people already in the chat stopping in to say hello. So hi, everybody. Welcome in. And, one of the things I do on my channel is interviews. Everybody knows that, I think, by now. But we are so fortunate that you came and joined us on our weekly Tuesday live stream, Lioness Lifestyle Live. And you are our third host now. And it's been really amazing to work with you in that capacity, Hayley. And I'm so glad that you said yes. I get excited every Tuesday when it's going to be time.
Yes. We love our Tuesdays.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just kind of wanted to, together, collectively, the Lionesses, wanted to give everyone out there kind of a chance to get to know Hayley on a personal level a little bit better. Because way back when we started Lioness, we did like a get to know your host episode, but like you weren't there then. And so people missed out on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, I'll be quiet because I want to hear you tell us, please, your health journey, maybe how that connected, because I feel like your health journey is very closely connected to like your faith journey and your family journey too. So if you could sort of weave that story for us, I love it. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll try to keep it not too long because it is kind of a longer journey, but I'm excited to share it with you guys. So I guess it starts when I was a child. I was raised in a very health conscious home. My mom was pretty much the only mom that I ever knew of that bought raw milk in the early 90s. And so I grew up in Alaska, which Garrett mentioned previously in one of our videos. And I remember going with her to fill up the jars from the huge holding tank that was at that farm. And all my friends, I remember, were drinking skim milk. Garrett said as a kid, he drank skim milk as well. That was kind of all the craze, like no, low fat, basically. But my mom was kind of that mom that went against the grain, and she's always kind of been that way. And she also instilled in us as kids, and I've carried it through my life, not to take medications unless it was absolutely necessary. And she was referring to things like ibuprofen, Tylenol, just kind of the regular stuff. And so I've carried that into my adult life. When Garrett has a headache, I'll be like, do you really, really, really need it? So
Sure.
I know, but that's just me. And he'll say, oh, you have a tiny pain? Like, take this. And I'm like, no, I can handle it. Like, I got this. But so anyway, I was very athletic as a kid. I played basketball from, elementary school all the way through high school. And I was able to eat whatever I wanted to, whenever I wanted to, and I didn't gain a pound. I had that kind of physique, I would say. Anyway, fast forward to after high school. I actually met Garrett in 2013, and that was through our church. We were both members of the same church, and we met in what's called the singles ward. So after you graduate from high school and you're 18, you would move into the singles ward where everyone else is about your age and everyone's trying to find a spouse to get married. And they kind of put you in those groups so that it's easier for you to find someone with your same values. So that's where we met. We got married in 2014, in March of 2014. And this is kind of where the health nutrition kind of journey started. We watched a documentary called Forks Over Knives. And it's a very popular watch in the plant-based, whole food, vegan space. And so we watched that, and it pushed hard for the plant-based movement. Basically, they use all of this science, I guess you could say, to convince people to eat that way. It's the best for the environment, that it's the best for your body long term, and all of that stuff. So we were convinced. We were convinced after watching that one documentary that that's what we needed to do. And so we used doctrine from our church to, I'm going to keep this in like as little terms as possible because it's kind of a long story, but we used that doctrine from our church. It's a health code called the Word of Wisdom at the time to justify being plant-based. And I'm not saying that the Mormon church encourages a plant-based lifestyle or plant-based eating. I'm just saying that we interpreted the doctrine that way. And when we shared it with our leadership, we were never told that we got it wrong or that was incorrect. And so that is what kept us in that space for approximately 9 years. We were plant-based. I kind of round up to 10 just to make it easier, but it was about nine years. And there was a large group of people in Mormonism that believed the same way that we did. And so we kind of latched onto those people, and there were large groups, thousands of people in these groups on Facebook that believed that same thing, that the Word of Wisdom was a plant-based lifestyle. And so we were involved heavily in those groups, and that's kind of where we found community within our religion and within, the church there as well. So I'm actually going to share my screen here because this is where the story really begins. So let me make sure that I can get this up here. Okay.
Uh-oh.
So here we go. So in June of 2015, so I guess I should say I got pregnant with our first baby in November of 2014. So we got married in March and I got pregnant in November and I was barely 19 years old. I think 19 or 20. Well, we won't go there, but
young. We'll say young, Hayley.
Young Hayley. And this is a very common practice, in that culture that we were raised in, to have children quickly and get married quickly. And so this is all part of that story. So I got pregnant with our first baby in November of 2014. And this picture was taken in June of 2015. And this was when I was diagnosed with preeclampsia with my first baby. And I had things like high blood pressure, protein in my urine, severely swollen ankles. I remember I had to pee in this jug like over the course of a week. Like you have to keep it in the fridge.
Oh my God.
And you have to, I know.
I didn't eat yet, you guys. It's okay, Hayley.
Oh, good.
Talk about the urine in the fridge all you want.
I know. And I remember being like, this is bizarre. And I'd never had other kids. This was my first pregnancy and it was kind of scary. And obviously Garrett, didn't know what was going on either. This was his first experience with this. And so preeclampsia can be pretty intense and scary. And I had no idea that this existed until this moment. So I had to pee in this jug over the course of a week. They would test it and see what my protein levels in my urine were. I had to go in for non-stress tests for the baby to make sure that she was doing okay during all of this. Because when you're sick with preeclampsia, your baby is also sick inside of you, and they're constantly worried about mom and baby. And I would say more so about the mom because it is about the mom's body. And what happens is the blood pressure can get too high, and eventually you have to deliver the baby early. Okay, so here, yes, these poor little feet, big feet, I should say. Wow. Yeah. And then here's another example of those same feet, like the next day. And they got bigger and bigger every day. And it was hard to walk and ignore my terrible toenails. I couldn't reach them.
I was going to say you couldn't reach them.
Yes.
So we
don't judge. Yeah. Okay. So, and then moving on to, this is me 34 weeks pregnant with preeclampsia. And I just wanted to share that. You can kind of see a swollen face here, and my fingers are really large. Obviously, if you don't have a before photo, it's kind of hard to see, but I was definitely not doing the best here. And then one more of my horrible feet. This was the day before she was born. So this is kind of how thick they got. I wish I'd put like a coin right here so you could
Yeah.
see just how large, or something else that you could tell. But this was really out of character for me. Um, and then she was born.
Oh,
Our baby was born. And unfortunately, because of preeclampsia, she was sick and she was very underweight. Her umbilical cord was really skinny, like a rope. Not, I know people say umbilical cords look like a rope, but they're kind of like, wavy. But
mm-hmm.
hers was just like a tight rope. And I remember seeing it and being like, that doesn't look right. Because, I'd seen videos and whatever of people having their babies because you got to prepare.
Yeah.
And so it was just bizarre. And I remember the doctor saying that was kind of strange too, that it was so skinny. And she yelled when she came out, "She's a peanut," because they did the measurement of her in my stomach because they had to decide if it was safe to induce me, which they did induce me because I was sick with preeclampsia. And when she came out, they were expecting her to be at least 7 pounds, and she was 5 pounds. So
Wow. So
she was a
tiny.
little girl. Yeah, she was
So
tiny.
that little skinny, strange looking umbilical cord, do they say that like kind of cuts off the nutrients? Is there less nutrients then getting to the baby?
Yeah, there was less nutrients and less blood flow to
Okay.
her, which did stunt her growth. And that could have been, my body's lack of nutrients and ability to create that, that for her. Obviously, it wasn't her that did that. It was my body and the lack of nutrients in my body initially before I got pregnant. That's what I think anyway. And so let's see. Um, she she needed bilirubin lights. That's what this is all about. She was jaundiced. And so she was very yellow, and we had to put her under these lights. And it was kind of scary for us because, of course, you want to be holding your child and you want to be, with them, but we couldn't be. We had to do this for her to, I think is it the kidneys? I should have prepared for that,
I
but
think it's the liver because my boys were
liver.
both had that too, and that we had to
Oh,
like
good.
put them in the sun with their diaper on for like hours every day, like not in the outside, but like sun
Yes.
through a window, like open all the curtains and put them in a real sunny spot. And they both had to have those lamps too in the hospital.
Oh, yeah. It's so
I'm pretty sure
sad.
it's liver.
Okay. That makes sense. That I feel like, yeah, that it was, I didn't really understand it at the time. I was 19 and I was sick and my first baby was sick, and it was just really hard. And so here's one more where they had her in the net to try to prevent or, keep her together, but also get the lights through the net because
Mm-hmm.
she was completely exposed. And also, I wanted to mention, I guess I'll go back here. You can see her nose is smushed here. And poor 19-year-old Hayley was standing down here at the base of the bassinet, moving it up all the time because she would start to sniffle, like it was covering her nose,
Mm-hmm.
and she wasn't able to breathe. And I remember being kind of annoyed at the doctors and nurses, like, is someone going to stand here and make sure my baby doesn't suffocate? Because it would cover her whole nose and mouth sometimes. And
Oh.
we'd have to like jump up out of the hospital bed and go move it back up. And anyway, that was kind of traumatic and hard to watch. So, okay. So that's our poor baby. And so fast forward. This is me pregnant with our second. This was in March of 2017. And I would say I'm probably, day before my second baby was born. So I went into labor right after this. It was a good pregnancy. Overall, I would say I didn't get preeclampsia. We were really worried about that. I was taking a baby aspirin every day, which they tell you to do to prevent future preeclampsia. Although I've heard since then they don't recommend that anymore. So I'm not exactly sure why, but I do wish. I remember taking it and being like, this is strange. I didn't really know the purpose of it, but I did it because my doctor told me to.
Right.
And we did have a great doctor. I loved her. She was a wonderful doctor in general. So It was a good pregnancy. I tested positive for strep B, and this kind of comes into my health journey a little bit later. But strep B is where you have a certain type of bacteria in the vaginal canal that can pass to your baby after they're born. And so the typical treatment for that is constant stream of antibiotics through an IV. And so I did have that with her, and I didn't really know any better. And so I did have the constant stream of antibiotics when I was in labor with her. And that plays into my story a little bit later. Hayley, this is so... Okay, this photo is hard for me because I just had a baby. This is 6 days postpartum. And I kind of wanted to show the progression of my, health in general over time. I'm very tired here. Definitely just had a baby and wasn't feeling the best, obviously. And this is kind of where my health kind of took a turn for the worst, was after I had my second child. And I do believe in part that it was due to, one, my diet, and two, the antibiotics that I had taken. It was, it's a constant flow of antibiotics. And so any good bacteria and any bad bacteria in your body is obliterated so that supposedly your baby doesn't get sick. I don't necessarily believe that nature makes us that way on purpose so that we'll birth our baby and they'll immediately be sick. But at the time I didn't know any better. Okay. Yeah. 6 days postpartum. And this is Garrett and I in May of 2017. And Garrett had just graduated college. And remember that during this entire time, since back in 2014, we were eating plant-based / standard American diet. And so this is kind of us maybe occasionally working out, but mostly just eating plant-based and trying not to binge eat too much. Mm-hmm. So this is right around when I started getting really sick. I started having SIBO, IBS-esque symptoms. And I say that because it was like throwing up. It came on suddenly, diarrhea, sulfur burps, passing out, all within like an hour time frame. Yeah. And when I went
to so young, like, you know what I mean?
Oh, I know. Yeah. 20. Yeah. Let's see. I was 24, 23, wow, maybe at this time. So I remember going to a doctor and, we tried to figure it out because we couldn't find out like whether it was food, whether it was stress, whether, it was lack of sleep or, something else. Like we had no idea what it was. And I would log my food and track everything. And we could not figure it out. And I went to a doctor and they diagnosed me with anxiety stomach. And it's funny because I was sitting in there. This doctor doesn't know me from Adam, by the way. This doctor has no idea who I am, doesn't know my chart, doesn't know my history of like any of my pregnancies or anything like that. And I sat in there. He's like, I'll be right back after I told him all my symptoms. And he came back and he said, well, the nurse out there said it could be anxiety stomach. So I'm going to write you a prescription for anxiety medicine.
What? Okay, like even if you should not have said that.
I know. Like, why did
that is something you keep in your own mind? Like you don't say that out loud.
I know. And he was, I think he's a physician's assistant or like a PA, Okay. So, but I was like floored and I didn't know what to say. And I was young and didn't know how to advocate for myself either. And so he wrote me a prescription, and I do remember going and picking it up. But because my mom kind of instilled in me that do not take medication unless it's absolutely necessary, it just didn't add up in my mind. Like all these physical symptoms are just anxiety. Like that just didn't work for me. And maybe that does happen to people. But I remember picking it up and it sat in our medicine cabinet for years. I never took it. I never felt right taking it. And that was just my gut feeling that it had to be something else. But I had kind of lost my hope in finding help through a doctor, through the medical system.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go to the next one. So this is kind of a longer story, but I'm going to keep it short. This was June of 2021,
Okay.
and I'm 32 weeks pregnant here with our third and final baby. I had hyperemesis gravidarum, which, if you know what that is, okay, it's
Don't.
for short, it's HG.
Okay.
And it's when women throw up every single day of their pregnancy. Basically, you can't keep much food down. You're sick all the way through. You feel nauseous all the way through your pregnancy.
Oh, I had that. I just didn't have a name for it.
Oh, yes.
Not like necessarily throwing up, but like that morning sick feeling all the way through to the day I delivered.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
my
and
goodness.
passing out. Like I would almost pass out every day in the morning.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
You had that then. It's just horrible. And so it's throwing up every day, no energy. And I could only keep down Gatorade and fries with pepper on them. So I must have been missing some kind of nutrients that pepper had. I don't know. And then sometimes I could keep down a cheeseburger. So as you can imagine, the diet, the nutrition that I was getting was absolutely non-existent. I had none.
Yeah.
And I was severely, I would say, overweight for my height and previous pregnancies. I had gotten up to 235 pounds, which was a lot for me. When we got married, I was about 135 pounds. So this is 100 pounds heavier than I was at my, I would say, healthiest, even though I wasn't eating, even before I met Garrett, we weren't eating good food still. And so I just wanted to mention that there are misconceptions about HG. Not everyone loses a ton of weight. And I would eat anything I could stomach, no matter how unhealthy it was, in order to stay out of the hospital. So when people say, well, how did you gain so much weight if you have HG? And the answer is you're throwing up the food and then you're eating right away because you don't want to be stuck in the hospital on an IV, which costs a lot of money because you're going to the ER, like all these things. So you're just kind of like in survival mode. And my body was definitely in survival mode and was holding on to every last bit so that I didn't, die. So
Right.
it was really hard. That was my hardest pregnancy by a long shot. Okay, let's see. I was part of some support groups for that as well. And this is the extreme of how bad that this can get. There were people in those groups, women who were getting abortions, trigger warning, abortions because they couldn't handle the sickness. They couldn't handle how hard it was. And so I had to leave those groups because that's obviously not supportive for, a pregnant woman who's trying to go through that. And also during this time under my armpits, I was diagnosed. Well, I wasn't diagnosed at the time, but I had these lumps. And I later found out that it was hidradenitis suppurativa, which I've talked about in some of my videos, where you develop these large boils. And they can vary in size, but they're under the skin. And they basically, a lot of them will open up and it'll look kind of like a gunshot wound, and this stuff will ooze out. It's very, very painful. And then it'll close up and then it'll re-emerge whenever it wants to. And once they've opened up, it's very, very, very difficult to get rid of it. It'll just keep opening up. And I've actually had a lot of people say, oh, I got boils here and here. I think Ellie actually mentioned that in one of my lives with Garrett, that she would get them and didn't know that that was probably what it was. When you get them in the creases of your body, you probably do have hidradenitis suppurativa. So I remember being in the throes of labor with this third baby and feeling these huge lumps under my arms. I couldn't put them all the way down. So I'm like, the labor and then these
the labor's not bad enough. Like, isn't that enough for one time?
Yes. And I was so nauseous during that whole thing. And like, it was crazy, but, and I didn't get to get an epidural. So it was like all natural. The whole thing was just crazy. And I'm proud of myself for getting through all of that. That was very hard.
As you should be.
Yeah, my body. I always like to say, I thought my body was fighting against me, but really it was fighting for me during these times. And so they would burst throughout pregnancy, these boils would, and then close up, and then I would develop them again. And then this is another photo real quick at the end of my pregnancy. Okay. So this is Garrett with little baby number 3. Got to share it because he's so cute. Okay. So 3 days after she was born, I was brushing my teeth. And when I went to spit out the toothpaste, my mouth didn't respond on one side. So it scared me. Like all of a sudden, I was like, you just try to spit something out, but one side was just like not
Like,
pursing forward.
like when you have Novocaine or something at the dentist, like
Yes.
that.
Yes,
Oh my
like
gosh,
that.
that's crazy.
I could feel it, but it wasn't responding with the rest of my body. And I kind of started to notice it was creeping up to my cheek. And we called the like the nurse hotline, and she was like, okay, tell me what's going on. And we kind of explained it to her. And she was like, you need to get to the ER right now. Because we told her I just had a baby and I had a history of preeclampsia, which you can get a stroke from.
Yeah, they're thinking stroke. Wow.
Yeah. So our 3-day-old baby, we called my brother-in-law who lives in town close to us. And he had just watched our kids, by the way, for a couple days while I was having the baby. And we called him and he was on a date, you guys.
Oh my gosh.
And we're like, and I think she thought that he was like ditching her, but like legitimately it was an emergency. And so anyway, he ran over. We gave him our 3-day-old baby and he watched her, and we rushed to the hospital, to the emergency room. And I was sitting there, they're doing all these vitals, doing all this stuff. And I could tell Garrett was really freaked out. And we had no idea what was going on. We were positive it was a stroke. So they're wheeling me down the hallway, this long, dark, cold hallway by myself, because Garrett had to fill out the information for our insurance and all that. So I was by myself, never, ever had an MRI. And they're like sitting me up on the MRI machine. They put the IV in to put that dark, black stuff, whatever it is that makes you then be able to see the veins and things, I think, in your body. And I was just like, I thought I was going to pass out. I was so scared. I had no idea what was happening. And it was like a movie, you guys. I was sitting on the MRI machine. They're like laying me back, and this nurse like barges into the MRI room, and they're like, stop the MRI, turn it off. And I'm just like, what is going on? And he's like, we called a specialist and we talked to him, and he said that it's Bell's palsy, and not a stroke. And so I guess if women strain hard enough, or I guess, it can happen to anyone, but because I was straining so hard during labor, there were micro, what's it called? Nerve damage in one side of my face. And because, it was a natural labor, I didn't have pain management at all. And it was very difficult, and I strained really hard. And so that one whole side of my face for, I would say, like 4 weeks after that was not responding. So when I would laugh, it looked ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And of course, everyone wanted to see me and the baby at that time.
Of course they did. Well, yeah. Fortunately, the baby was there to play interference because, the baby's cute. And so all the focus was there and not on your face.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh. So let's see. There's me with her. I think at this time my face was droopy, but I was afraid to take photos too close. All right. So then moving on, this is kind of where the carnivore comes in. So this is May of 2022. I'm 9 months postpartum and 180 pounds. And the reason I took these photos is because I was trying to track my postpartum journey. And I was exercising 4 to 5 times a week at this time and eating plant-based. And I had stopped breastfeeding because my baby wasn't gaining the proper weight, my third child. And I took her into her 6-month, no, I think it was her 4-month appointment. And they're like, we should be putting you into the hospital, like putting her into the hospital right now because her, chart wasn't going up the right amount. She was perfectly happy, perfectly responsive, but you could see her ribs. And they were concerned about that. And I was strict plant-based at this time because I believed that that was going to make her the healthiest and make me the healthiest after
so
having
were they calling it like failure to thrive? Did they?
Yes.
Put that label
it's so scary, that label. It is so scary. And so that was really hard for me because I knew she was going to be our last because it was such a difficult pregnancy. And I wanted to breastfeed her so bad I was hoping 18 months because I knew that mom's breast milk was the healthiest, thing for a baby ever to have. And I ended up having to switch to formula. And, if I knew what I did now, I would have just switched my diet, but I had no clue. I still thought plant-based was the best, even after that. And so I was broken. I was so sad. That was devastating. And it still really is devastating. I'll do a side view here as well. You can kind of see this bulbous stomach. This is all visceral fat in here. It's not even loose skin at this point. It's 9 months postpartum.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of see the lack of health there. And then, let's see, that's another side view. This was 189 pounds at this point. So I think this is July of 2023. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing really quick because I have to get into okay. All right. So I'm going to share the journey out of plant-based into carnivore. And that started with me really questioning my faith and religious beliefs at the time. And if you've seen my video where I talk about leaving Mormonism made me carnivore, I explain it a little bit better in there, but I'm going to do a short version here. I do remember thinking that carnivores were outliers. They were not common. There's not a lot of them. They're weirdos. They must be super sick and going to die early from heart attacks and strokes. That's what I believed at the time. I remember knowing about Michaela Peterson and Jordan Peterson, and they didn't really go into detail at the time that I had heard about them. Garrett and I went to one of his lectures in Utah, and he briefly mentioned it, but he was like, we don't know a whole lot about nutrition. I don't think he wanted to be controversial at that time. And we were driving home, and I remember being like, there's no way that's healthy, and we were laughing at each other like, they're going to die early, like it's just so horrible thinking back at that. But that was our attitude. We were pretty deep in that plant-based mindset. So I came to my own conclusions about the church that we were a part of, that I had been raised in, and Garrett and I decided to step away from it. And it's important in our story because of the way we interpreted the doctrine of the church. We couldn't even think about carnivore being a possibility unless we didn't hold those beliefs anymore that they held in the health code that they kind of put out for the church. And after we left the church, something was kind of stirred in me. I remembered seeing a video about Michaela Peterson talking about carnivore or lion diet. And I just, one day, it was probably a couple weeks or a month or so after we had stepped away from the church and kind of felt like we weren't going to follow that health code anymore. It wasn't working at the time, especially. It hadn't worked for 9 years.
I mean, you gave it a good try, Hayley. Nobody can say that you didn't.
We gave it a good go. We really did. We tried. And I called Garrett and I was like, he was on his way home from work. And I said, could you grab me enough steaks in order to do this for 7 days? And I just remember him on the phone being like, why? Why are we doing this? Because we still didn't we hadn't talked about it together. We hadn't come into any conclusions about it. I had just literally decided that after, I think I thought about Michaela Peterson, went on YouTube, looked up carnivore diet, found Dr. Barry's videos, and I had binged a bunch of his videos. And that day I just decided, okay, this is what we're going to do. So I decided to start it. And he was very supportive about that. So I think he still thought I was a little bit, what's happening. But anyway, so let me share the screen again and we'll get into the quick before and afters here. So this was day 1 of carnivore. Before I'd eaten anything, this was like our before photo, my before photo. So this little, what is this? A little dot right here is some residual HS. I still, in one of my armpits at this time, had kind of an open wound from a boil. So I was still kind of dealing with it at this time. So this is my day 1 back view, and this is day 7 back view. So you can kind of see here that it's a lot less inflammation that I was not expecting. This back here was the most significant change, and it absolutely shocked me that only 7 days I had experienced that much change. And that kind of told me like, whoa, there's got to be something to this. And honestly, I know the lighting's a little different here, but my skin is not, you see the redness back here.
Yep.
And kind of, there's a little bit down here. It's hard to see, but it's a more even skin tone, I guess I should say.
It just blows me away. I put in the chat, Hayley, that we should play Spot the Difference. And so, Renee, yeah. And Renee said way too many differences. Spot.
Yeah, there's a lot here. And,
I mean, in a week, you guys, 7 days.
Yeah, I was not expecting that because, every other thing that I've done has taken, if I've seen any difference at all, it's taken at least a month. And that's what I was expecting. Like, that's normal. People always say like, oh, don't give it just a week, like give it a month, give it 2 months, because it does take a while. But yeah, it's so shocking to me just seeing it myself. And I didn't share these for a long time because I'm still self-conscious about the way that this, looks, because I do have body dysmorphia. I've always had kind of that inclination to not really see my body the way that it is at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, putting these out there is kind of scary, but this 7-day difference, I mean, I don't know if you guys are doing Spot the Difference, but I'll try to.
Somebody playing with me. I mean, okay, so I will spot. So first of all, your waist is narrower and your hips are even a little bit narrower, like in a week.
Yeah. Yep. Right here. And just the bra line too, if you kind of look.
Yes.
Right here and right
that
here.
Bulge is gone. Like on the left, there's a bulge on that bra line.
Right here.
Right. Not so much.
And right here.
Yeah, right there. Yep. That's what I'm talking about. Yep.
Yeah. And another kind of interesting thing to note that people mentioned in some carnivore support groups on Facebook when I would post these, they're like, every time you post a before and after photo, your hair looks nicer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not as frizzy. So that was kind of a random difference that I wasn't expecting either.
Yeah. So, and like that hair was there before. It's the same hair. It's not like new hair grew. So
yeah.
Easy to me. I wonder if it's like your scalp was producing more like healthy oils or something that got in your hair. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, you guys. I'm just making a guess.
Yeah. Well, and I used to be able to go maybe even 2 weeks without washing my hair because it was so dry. I have naturally very curly hair, you guys. It's hard to manage sometimes, and maybe it'll be better over time. But it just now I think I have to wash my hair like 3 times a week because just the amount of natural oils, and it's a good thing. I feel like it's helped my hair in general, but it's a big difference for me. Okay, are we ready to move on to the next one?
Yes, and if there's a Spot the Difference opportunity, you guys play along in the chat.
Yes. This next one is a side view of the same time frame. So day 1 to day 7. Mm-hmm. This is a side view of day 1 to day 7.
Wow.
So put your Spot the Differences.
Put your Spot the Differences in the chat. I see 3 big ones.
Yeah. I wish my underwear here wasn't like black so that you could see it a bit better. But
yeah, it does kind of blend into that wall.
I know. I started doing them in front of the lighter wall because I need to be able to see better. But yeah.
Nobody's playing, not even Mike. Come on, Mike.
I see Gail said inflammation down. But
yeah, Gail was saying, you want to hear something weird? My inflammation went up last month, and after I ate the cookies and candy the other day, the big fatty lump appeared right over my sternum. Can't wait to get the inflammation down again.
Oh, I see. Okay, that was an extension. Yeah. That's awesome.
Okay,
Yeah,
here we
so
go. Somebody's playing. Oops, that was not the right one. Anna is playing. She said the face, big difference. Yes.
yeah, here
The
the
skin tone of the face and the neck jawline.
here
Two.
is it's
The
smaller,
face.
yeah.
The skin tone of Hayley's beautiful face.
It was so inflamed. Yeah, you can kind of see like my nose is kind of a different shape. I actually carried a lot of inflammation in my lips, which surprised me. I can show you that in one of these future photos here that I'm going to share. But my cheeks would kind of crunch up into my eye and make my eyes look smaller.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So this is just day 1 to day 7 of strict
Yeah.
carnivore.
I mean, your belly is so much smaller.
Yeah. You can
And
see it like flatten here.
yes.
It's like so distended
Yeah, so
and it's more
there we
round.
go. Gail's gonna play.
There we
Tongue
go.
twister, that's right. And your thighs are smoother too.
Yes, yes. They definitely are very dimpled here and maybe cellulite, is that what they call it? And then
Yes,
less
Haley,
less
that's
over
what
here.
they call it. I haven't gotten rid of mine yet, but mine popped up at the age of like 15. So if my body
Yes.
decides to let go of that, I think it'll be the last to go. It's not going to go away. It didn't go away in a week. I'll tell you that. It's still there.
I definitely still have it, you guys. Some of these pictures, obviously I'm a body that moves around a lot and you can see it at different times and that's just totally normal. I think it's just completely normal. So, okay. Yeah. And then obviously you can tell my posture is a little bit better because I'm not being pulled forward by this larger mass.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. Okay. So then this next photo is day 1 to day 60. So it's not, I mean, it is a large difference if you look at that right photo when I changed the screen.
Yep.
But someone might be thinking, well, that's not a huge difference, but like that's 60 days, and so you immediately notice this huge, change in inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly your body starts to take its natural shape. So obviously there's big obvious changes here, especially in my stomach and my thighs, and my breasts are a lot less saggy. You can't really tell here, but
Yeah, I mean, because the bra will kind of keep them up regardless, right?
Yep. Which we need. Breastfeeding 3 kiddos, but yeah.
Yep.
So, and then I do have a back view as well. This is where I started to see like a little bit of a thigh gap that I wasn't seeing before.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see here, this is kind of like, this is where the hair really started to change. It was just not, and this is just me, like my hair even now, like I'll put it up in a ponytail at night and then get up and brush it out. And it looks it's just manageable. It doesn't get frizzy overnight or anything like that. And I think it's just those natural oils that my body's producing now that it wasn't before.
Both Gail and Mama Cracker see muscle definition.
Yes, this is with no exercise. I don't know if I mentioned that. I had, I was just trying to hone in the carnivore lifestyle. And so I didn't exercise during this time. And I think there's this misconception that we don't build muscle without exercising, but I don't think that's true at all. And, maybe we don't, but because maybe our body is just like lowering the inflammation to the point where we can see the muscle that's already there. That could definitely be the case. But regardless, there is some shoulder muscle definition here in my back. And then, on the side view, you can more so see the thigh muscles here more defined and back here on the back side as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, some good changes. Okay, so oops. And then this is from June 2022 to my most recent update photo in October of 2023. I haven't done an update photo since then, but this is my most recent one, 189 on the left here. I'm sorry. This one is 180 pounds.
Okay.
And this is 155 pounds with no exercise, just strict carnivore.
That is such a big change. And I bet you felt so much better too.
Oh, yeah. I had no idea just how heavy I felt all the time. Like in my mind, I was just so heavy, in my body too. But really, you being unhealthy, the weight on your mind is just so, so heavy.
Mhm.
And that was lifted, and I felt rejuvenated. And, you don't really notice the changes that are happening at the time. But then when you take the photos, of your body, you know what mental changes you're experiencing. But then when you take the photos, it's like, holy cow, it totally resonates throughout your entire physical appearance. Um, so,
Can you reiterate for Mike how many pounds down that was between the two photos?
so this was 180 pounds, and this is 155 pounds. So that's 25 pounds down.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then Pendar wants to know, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, Pendar, but is that from June 2022? Can you share the dates one more
Yeah.
time?
So this is July of 2023.
July of 2023. Okay.
Yep.
So
And
just
this is
a month ago.
October. Yep. This is October of 2023.
Yeah. Okay. So 3 months between July and October of just this year.
Yep. Just this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. And then there's my butt. This is so, oh my gosh. Some of my family was on yesterday and we shared this one and I was like, oh my. I know nobody else really cares, but that was interesting for me. But this one on the left, let's see here. I got to make sure I got the right date. So this is hold on. June. This one's June of 2022.
Okay.
To October of 2023. This is just the back view of that previous photo. And I pulled my underwear up the same way in both photos. So
Wow.
this is the same exact underwear, by the way.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like it at all. It doesn't seem like you did that in the first picture.
Right.
No?
Yeah. So just this width here, I always kind of thought I was broad backed, like back here. I always thought I kind of had a broad back, and you kind of see women who are more of that stature, and I just kind of thought that was how I was naturally. But over here, I wish I'd taken measurements because this is just a lot smaller.
That is so much narrower. It's a big difference.
Right. And here in the waist too, like I'm lifting up my arms. And if you can remember that day 7 photo from day 1 to day 7, just the amount of, you can kind of see it here. This bra doesn't really showcase it maybe as much, but these back handles, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called either.
So
Yeah,
it's just really narrow there. Yeah. And then obviously there's more of like a hourglass shape, which I do believe women are supposed to biologically naturally have this shape to them. I think that Garrett and I were kind of talking about this biological desire that maybe men have towards women who have curves, who have that healthy, curvy look, because that means that you're fertile. That means that you would be a good mate, as far as like our biology goes.
I've heard that.
And you know what? Yeah, men, you can put that in the comments. Just tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a man, but that natural curve, I think, shows men that you're healthy, that you're, because women can overdo it with the exercise and the low body fat percentage, and then they lose their period. And
back in the 80s, it was like, I mean, like rail thin was in, right? Rail thin. Like,
yes. Yeah.
No butt, no hips, no nothing. And I mean, for us pear shapes, that was a sad, sad time because there was no way.
Yes, I'm a pear shape too.
No way that was going to happen for me.
Yes, yes.
But looking at like the magazines and stuff, I thought that's what I was supposed to look like. Yeah.
Right. Well, and just something to note back here, this one, I was exercising regularly 4 to 5 times a week.
Whoa.
And sorry, I wasn't seeing any progress, and I was eating plant-based / standard American diet. And I say that because we would eat plant-based and then our bodies would crave the fat that is in fries and burgers and things like that so hard that we could not fight it. And so that's why I say plant-based / standard American diet, because if your diet is sustainable and you're getting all the nutrients you need, you're not going to want to eat all the other stuff all the time, which we did. We were not getting the nutrients that we needed. So we would eat plant-based, binge, standard American. So,
okay, you have to answer this for Mike. Hopefully you got underwear for Christmas because those can't possibly fit right anymore. You get the new underwear for Christmas, Hayley.
I didn't get any new ones for Christmas. Garrett, are you listening?
Garrett, where are you at?
Where you at, Garrett? Oh, how fun. Yeah, I do need to get some new ones. That's for sure. Anyway, so let me go to this next one. So this is one I haven't shared before. I think I might have shared it in a support group on Facebook one time, but this is June 2022 on the left over here. Ignore I just woke up, so there's random makeup on my face or something. But so June 2022, and then this is October 2023. So this is what my face looked like, with this right photo here.
Okay.
This is the same day. So this is what my face looked like here.
Yeah.
So maybe not as obvious to me, the changes, but I think that they're strong enough to pay attention to it. So this is just, I think this is 4 months carnivore. I think it's 4 months carnivore. So my nose, Dr. O'Mara has talked about this, that your nose
talked about the nose.
Yeah.
Yes.
It carries this inflammation in it. I don't know why or how. It's just so bizarre. But also you can see in my lips here, just around my mouth, it looks more poofy. I don't know how to explain that, but this is a little more defined on my chin and my upper lip. And then, my eyes, obviously around my eyes are less poofy. And then my neck, you can't see the wrinkle lines as much, maybe because there's less inflammation there. But yeah, this is at least a couple months carnivore. I would say probably 4 months.
And Gail is adding, she's spotting the difference. Thank you, Gail, for keeping on playing. You also have nice dark rings around your irises of your eyes.
Oh, wow. Gail, you're right. That's not something that I noticed. Oh, it's pale here. And these are dark. Wow. That's not something.
Your eyes look bluer. It makes your eyes look bluer because of the dark ring. It the rest of the iris pops with that really beautiful blue color.
Yeah, I think I've noted, I've heard somebody talk about that in a video briefly, but I never, tried looking at these befores, but way before I was carnivore. This is about a year before I was carnivore, in the throes of plant-based lifestyle. And then 5 months carnivore. That ring is really pronounced. That's crazy. Interesting. Thank you for pointing that out. Let's see. Okay, this is just Garrett and I as a couple, our before and afters. This is November of 2022. I'm sorry, November of 2021 and November of 2023. So that's a 2-year difference. And I'll just go quickly kind of through these. I was pregnant. So this is when I was pregnant with my third. Just the level, I was 235 pounds, and the level of inflammation you can see. I don't think pregnant women in general are supposed to have this amount of weight fluctuation or inflammation buildup that we're seeing all the time. And we're kind of told it's normal, oh, she's pregnant, she'll bounce back. I really don't think that's how our ancestors lived. I think that the women were healthy and strong, and they didn't have that inflammation all the way through, and they birthed those babies on their own, and they knew what to do, and we're just kind of displaced from, that normalcy that we're supposed to have in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gail says that those rings around the irises are a sign of good health.
Yes,
so, yeah.
That is so awesome. I need to look into that more. That's so intriguing to me.
Yeah, I got to go Google that now.
Yeah, I can't remember where I heard it. It had to have been somewhere, but anyway, this is just couple more before and afters of my face. On the left here, this was a hard time in our life, and there was a lot of stress there. But kind of my facial features, you can see my cleft chin is much more pronounced.
And I don't know if this is true or not true, or if it's just the lighting, but your teeth look better.
Yes, I did have my teeth whitened here.
Okay.
But this was my biggest smile, you guys. This is as big as my smile would go. Like I was smiling.
Oh, because all the squish.
Yes, all of the bloating and inflammation and
Mhm.
puffiness, like so my smile is a lot different, and that's something to note. Like Garrett too, in his before and afters, his smile is smaller. You can hardly see his eyes. Like just that amount of inflammation is crazy. And then this is I think June of 2022 back here. And this is with no exercise between these two photos. I'm wearing similar clothing so that you can see. And this right photo was day one of trying to do lifting. So no exercise between the two, but the one on your right is first day one of lifting. So
so if I ever convert you to some sprinting, Hayley, you got to be the first to let me know.
I know
in that photo.
I get so nervous about running in front of people. Like I don't know what that is. I'm just so nervous about it.
Yeah. It's not cute when I run. It's not cute. I posted it yesterday. It's not cute, you guys. Like it's not about that. Then I talked about that. It's not about being cute.
No, it's not. And that's so true. Like
it's about my health.
When I see people running, like it doesn't matter what they look like to me. I'm just like, good for you. And that's how I think about it. But for some reason, it's hard for me to get over that. Like for myself, I don't know. But
I understand.
Yeah.
I get that.
So that's it. This is our kind of a before and after from 2019 to 2023 of just Garrett and I. So anyway, that's it. That's all I've got.
Awesome. Someone has popped in backstage, Hayley.
Ooh, I wonder who.
And I wonder if it's okay if I bring them on stage.
Yes.
Would that be okay with you? Okay, here we go. Drum roll. I don't have drums. Okay.
I don't either. Yeah.
It's Ellie.
Hello, everyone.
It's you.
I'm in my living room. Oh my gosh.
I was like, wait, the background's not the same. I'm like checking it. I'm not even looking at your face. I'm like, what does she have back there?
I have a tree. Should I turn the tree on? Let's turn on the tree.
Yeah, it's not New Year's Day yet. Turn on that Christmas tree.
Turn on the tree. Yes.
Yeah, mine's on back there.
I love it.
Yay.
I have to say, Hayley, listening to your story, I've heard little blips like on your channel, obviously, but hearing it in the chronological order with all of the pictures, it just shows me how powerful this diet can be when you're properly fueling your body. Your body is going to take care of itself, and it's going to be able to, help you through these years to come. And your pregnancy stories, they had me like my poor Hayley girl. I'm so sorry you went through that.
I can never complain about my pregnancies again. Okay, that's all I have to say. Nope, my pregnancies were fine. My pregnancies were great.
Oh man,
yeah. Story because I can't compete with Hayley.
Oh my gosh. No. Well, it's so unfortunate, and I do hope that my girls, when they someday decide to have children, if they decide to, that they will, know how to do this so that they can not have those experiences that I've had. And I know people have it worse than I did. But yeah, it was traumatic and it was hard, especially being so young. And I do wish that I would have the opportunity to have one more child so that I could heal those traumas related to those pregnancies, because I think it would be a lot better now that I'm not as ill. So yeah.
I have to say that a lot of parents, this is just in general, a lot of parents, if they feel like they've done something that they wish they could redo, a lot of the time is they have that moment of healing when they see their grandchildren. And I know that's a long time for you, but you could look forward to the opportunity of having all those firsts again and being able to do it for the newer generation. And I think as long as you are being a good role model for your children, as I know you and Garrett are, you're going to continue to see a lot of growth with them. And it's going to, I think that in turn will also help heal any past trauma with your pregnancies and your past health, because you're moving forward into a life that is going to, make your family as a whole better. It's going to feel good.
Yeah. And your kids are still so much, they're a lot younger than my kids are. Right. So you're in that, like, you have this golden opportunity, I feel, in front of you. Whereas mine, I'm just kind of like living by example and hoping they pick it up, because mine are, they're 18 and 15. And I have noticed a few changes in them, which is amazing. But to Ellie's point, you guys touched on your live stream last night. You touched on that you've already started like noticing some differences, even like in their behavior, in their kind of way of being and in their response to things.
Yeah, they're very much more, I would say, just like me, level-headed. I made a list of benefits since going carnivore, and one of those was no brain fog, thinking clearly, level-headedness. Mm-hmm. And I do think that we have to realize that these children are little people. They're little adults. That's what they are. And so they're just trying to manage their emotions and manage their life the same that we are. And so, it's funny because I should mention that when we interviewed, oh my gosh, who was it? Who was our most recent? It was our most recent.
Erin.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think
Better Living. Erin.
Yes, it was her. So she made a joke. My kids watch these lives when we're doing Lioness Lifestyle, and they'll be like sitting in our room watching us live. And I went to go tuck them in after that live video, and Lena said, that lady Erin, she said that salt was bad for you, and she was like, she was lying. But it was a joke because Erin was saying, "Oh,
she was joking.
Bad.
Salt is bad for you." Yeah,
that's
so
what
she didn't understand the sarcasm.
No, she didn't get it.
Erin's comment.
And I was like, oh,
she knows that salt isn't bad for you, so that's
exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah. So slowly they're learning, what the best thing is for them to do, and they're good at calling out. She didn't understand the sarcasm, and it's not like a jab at all at Erin because she's little, she's 8, but she just was telling me like she didn't say something that is true. Like she was saying something that my daughter knew wasn't correct, even though she didn't understand. So these little things that we plant in them, like our girls will fill up their water bottles and they'll always remind me, I need to add salt. So I have to hand them the Redmond's salt, and they add the right amount to their cup. So yeah, just these little changes and these little things that hopefully they'll carry with them.
Yeah, and give it about 2 years, because my 5th graders that are 10 understand sarcasm.
Yeah, we're trying to help with that. Yeah,
I help them along. Trust me. If they don't understand it by the time they leave my class, I make them repeat.
Yes,
there you go.
That's funny. Oh, that's funny.
That's amazing. It just with my kids, I noticed that they are also more level-headed. They're young, a little younger than yours. They're 3 and 1. But with my 3-year-old, her emotions were off the wall. Like if she was sad, it was like she would scream, and like this is like from birth to like now. She had colic as a little girl, a little baby, and now that she's 3, like her screams and her cries with like the vibrations in the air, like you could feel it. Like it was like into your core.
Oh.
And now she's explaining, and it could also be a little bit to her age, but she's also like coming up to me and she's like, Mommy, I don't want to talk to you right now. I'm upset. I need to think. I'll come see you soon, or something like that. I'm like, that's really mature, and I'm like, okay. And then you respect that space, but it's so nice to like have that higher plane of existence like available to the kids, and they're not just going into that like lower just dysregulated emotions that are just so out of control and chaotic. So it's nice to see that the way they're eating does play a big role in how they're behaving. So
so awesome. My younger son, with the one with the sensory integration processing, part of that and he had a double whammy. So he had that and ADHD. And part of both of those things is a big case of emotional dysregulation. So that's one of the things that I wished, like, had I only known, right, like sooner. But he's also the one that's responding more to the meat. And like I made a pork shoulder in the crock pot. And so the next day he ate it the first day. And then he goes, the next day he goes, can you heat me up some of that pork?
Yay.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. So he's asking for meat. Like this is a kid who, I don't know how long ago it was, 5 years ago. We had gotten some quesadillas from a restaurant. And so we had it for him. It was like plain tortilla, plain cheese, like no sauce, nothing can be on there. No chicken, no nothing, just because it has to be smooth as possible, for his texture issues. And he's sitting at the table and he's eating his quesadilla. And all of a sudden, just all over the table.
Oh no.
And I'm like, what's going on? And he goes, there was like something in there. Something was in there. It was a piece of rice, you guys.
Oh my gosh.
A piece of rice had gotten into the quesadilla. And if you know that story, The Princess and the Pea, where she can feel the pea under like a bunch of like 100 mattresses or whatever. Yeah, that was him with that. I like that analogy pops in my mind. So he could tell the difference with that piece of rice in his mouth. Like the texture was so extreme to him that he had to like spit it out and puke it up. Mm-hmm. But now he's like, can you heat me some more pork?
Yay, that's such a win.
I will take it every time. Like, yeah. So
I rather him crave the meat more than the rice. So he can keep those grain of rice.
Yeah, and we've never fed, I've never been a big, rice person. But I do remember going through like a brown rice, like when brown rice was healthy. I remember buying brown rice because that's healthy. But yeah, anyway, that's just to illustrate the severity of the issue for him, with texture, in his mouth.
I know that's, you're definitely like when you have like abnormalities about like that, you have to be able to take time and analyze the situation and see how you can slowly bring things in. But if it's not going to work, like, you don't push it.
Right. And we kept trying through his toddler years, because he was like still on like baby food, like totally pureed food, until he went to preschool. Because every time we would introduce something, he wouldn't want to put it in his mouth. He would refuse to put it in his mouth. And if we like forced the issue and like put it in his mouth, like, see, this is food, he would puke.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but now he's and liking it. I think he likes it better than my older son even. Because he'll just eat like a piece of meat, like me. Whereas my older son, he's more like he'll eat it with something else, which is, better than nothing. But, he still hasn't gotten where he'll just eat just the meat,
Exactly. I was watching earlier and I was like, because I want to make sure I know what you guys are, obviously I want to hear your story, but I also want to make sure that I'm not repeating topics and stuff like that. I feel like it's like, so like you're from Alaska, right? It's like I went through my whole story already. So I wanted to ask you guys if you'd be, because Hayley was showing pictures of herself before she did carnivore, and I found a ton of pictures of myself, and I was wondering if you wanted to go down to memory lane with me and see what the standard American diet did to me. So I think it's pretty wild. I don't know if you wanted to do that at all.
I'm good with it, but I'm gonna leave that in Hayley's hands because
I don't know if you want. I just want to show like 1 or 2 pictures because it's just like insane.
Ellie, I don't think I've ever interviewed you, so we'll have to do that at some point. I don't know why.
I don't know either. I guess we're too busy with Lioness. We don't have to. Just like I could just show one.
No, I would love to see 1 or 2. I would love to see 1 or 2 pictures of what.
Yeah, let's do it.
The sad diet did to Ellie.
Like I'm not gonna go through my story or anything like that, but I just want to like show you how bad it was.
A picture worth 1,000 words, girl. Let's see it.
There are bikini pictures. Are you
guys? Yes.
Is that too much?
Right.
No.
No. Haley had underwear pictures.
Yeah, I was in underwear and a bra, so.
That's true. All right, let me see. So if I share my screen, can I share the desktop?
Yeah, you can, because we're in our account that we're like, you're not just a guest here, you're in charge. Power. There we go.
So I wanted to share. This is me at like my heaviest. Let's see if it shows it. Settings. Nope, not settings. See, now I'm putting a lull in the stream. I should have known how to do this.
It's okay. We don't mind.
All right, here we go. So this is me. This is at 230 pounds. And look how happy I am, guys.
Yeah, so happy. Look at your face. You look happy.
Oh,
So that's, and then that this is the side. So I carried all my weight, like, and the hips.
wow.
And so I was telling you guys like earlier, I think it was yesterday, I have had like the most damage in my legs. Like just look how swole. I don't know. I just think I just had to share that because I feel like if someone like stumbled upon this and they're just like, how could this happen to like, oh, could this happen to one person? No, it happens to everybody that's eating this way. You just continue to gorge yourself. And it's just, I don't know. I just felt like I had to share that, even though it was really embarrassing.
And then, like, look at her face now, you guys. I mean, all
Put
that
those biceps up. Put those biceps up, Ellie.
There you
go.
Woo!
But it's there.
It's there.
I love it.
I wore a sweater. I can't do mine. Dang it.
You're so strong, Christy.
You guys, it actually rained here earlier. The sun is shining through and causing me to have problems over here. But it rained here today. It was chilly. I'm like, it's sweater weather.
Yeah. I have my jacket. I just threw it on the floor. I'll join up with you. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like I needed to share that because you guys are my friends and you should know how bad it used to be. I don't know.
And Mike says, amazing progress, Ellie.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
That's right. Well, we had Cindy DeMansion here saying hello at the beginning of the show. And Ellie, you were sneaky. You were in there watching us too. Yes, you were. And Altiora Jim saying hi.
Hi.
And Carnivore Leo Rhonda was here. She even joined us, even though she said she was out shopping. So
nice.
And of course, Becky. Becky, this was, Hayley, Becky is commiserating with you about the urine in the refrigerator and taking that to the doctor's office. Yeah, not fun. Not fun.
Oh my goodness.
And then Mama Cracker was here saying good afternoon to us. So hello. Yes, it did turn. It is afternoon for me now. And Mike saying, what's up, lady?
Hi, Mike.
And also that we dudes have no idea. We're telling your pregnancy stories.
Yes.
Yeah, no frame of reference for the dudes. And then Ellie, you're so strong. Yes, you are, Hayley. Oh my God. Anna had a quick question, Hayley. She says, I noticed you don't wear makeup. Is that right?
That's right. I just do eyebrow pencil and mascara. I don't do I like eyeshadow or skin stuff, and I just use tallow and water for my skincare. So.
Is it tallow that you make yourself, or do you purchase it?
So sometimes it's tallow that we have strained and purified, but we actually get the Wagyu tallow from Amazon. That's what's it called? It's the black label.
Yeah, I get that kind too. It's really good.
It's really smooth. It's really smooth, and it goes right into your skin. Doesn't leave it greasy. Garrett uses that for his eczema as well. So anyone who has skin sensitivity, it's really good.
And then I hope this person is still here, but Pendar said, hello, girls. I just started 2 days ago. So way to go. Not waiting till January 1st. Just jumping in right at the end of December. I love it. And Pendar, you've come to the right place. I hope you're still here. Let us know if you are. But because, thanks, Garrett. Because our here is so supportive. So hop into any one of the live streams, either on our 3 channels or in this community, and you can always ask questions or come here for support or whatever you need. So absolutely. And then Deb popped in. Hello, Deb. And Simpson got excited to see you. She said, Ellie.
It's me.
And Miss Robin. It's okay, Robin. Catch the replay. If you didn't see Hayley's before and after pics, you definitely have to go catch the replay. Those, because those
are amazing.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Phenomenal. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, thanks, Mike. Oh, you can't see because the background is black, but there's music notes. He's singing a song for us.
Hello, roasting. I'm just kidding. That's funny. I love it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
So Hayley, I'm curious, how are you liking being on Lioness Lifestyle Live?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Putting her on the spot right in front of all the
Yeah, well, I think she likes it, but like I want to know that.
I don't like it, you guys. I'm just kidding.
I hate it so much. Why did you ask me?
No, it's so good. Oh, it's so fun. Yeah, I feel like I'm a stay-at-home mom right now, and I homeschool my kids, and so I don't get a lot of maybe like one-on-one interaction with other women, especially. I do through like church and stuff, but it's few and far between, and so I feel like Ellie and Christy have kind of just like welcomed me with open arms into this carnivore community, and pretty quickly after we started our YouTube channel. And so it kind of calmed a lot of my nerves about being online, about, not maybe knowing everything about this way of doing things, this lifestyle. And so I absolutely love it. I look forward to it every week. And I actually love when we have extra episodes during the week, because I feel like I get my chance to discuss things with adults and be around people who have the similar thought processes that I do, especially, and in the chat too. You guys are amazing in the chat. And I always learn a ton and get a lot of support from everyone. So I love it.
Yeah, I find that too, where like each and every week, no matter what like version of the proper human diet, or even if their journey isn't just like mine, 100% I learn something every time. And even like Erin, like you mentioned, Erin, our guest last Tuesday, like I know her pretty well. We live stream together. We talk offline, like we become friends, and so I've heard her story, but like piecemeal,
Yeah.
So when she laid it out like that, I was just like, what? And so
yeah.
I just really felt like I got to know her so much better. And I'm having a similar experience here with you, Hayley, because I've gone on your channel and I've watched most of your videos. That's how I discovered you and thought you would make a great addition to Lioness Lifestyle. But to hear you sit down like this and just lay it out, and then with like pictures and illustrations and like pointing things out.
Those are great.
Oh my God.
Oh, thanks. I didn't know if I had too many, but
no, I didn't think so. I really
thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was just going to say, it's one thing to say like, I got better. And then you actually show how you got better. Like that is just worth $1 million in my opinion.
Oh, I'm glad it's helpful. Definitely.
Absolutely. So I appreciate you coming on and being interviewed. I hope it wasn't too. I know you were nervous. Most people are nervous. I was.
I've never shared it. I've never shared the story. I've never been interviewed personally, like one-on-one. And so, yeah, it was nice to get it out there and share it all, bear it all.
Let us know in the chat how you enjoyed Hayley's very first interview ever. I'm becoming known for these. Like people want to come talk to me for their first interview. That's so fun. But anyway, thank you for coming on and sharing that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a blast. Love it.
What were you going to say, Ellie?
I was just going to say, I think it's because you're so warm and you're open-minded. Aww. And you're funny, and I think that's why people want to come to you, because it's just like, okay, we're gonna go talk to Christy. They're not thinking about all the people in the chat, even though they want their voice to be, like a ripple effect and go across the internet pond. But yeah, I think you bring people together, and it's amazing what you've done with your channel in such a short amount of time. I'm so glad that we've met each other too. I feel like it was fate. And now Hayley's in the mix, and it's just like, well, I was going to say now it's a beautiful, beautiful cake, but we don't eat cakes. So it's a beautiful carnivore muffin. You can find the recipe on Crispy's channel.
Find the recipe on my channel for that carnivore muffin, because that's delicious. Oh, hello, Pixel. You knew you were going to see Pixel today. There she is, showing off her athletic abilities for everyone.
Yeah, let's be fit like Pixel. Let's like climb up furniture. Do parkour. You guys remember parkour?
Oh, she was doing parkour the other night and she was cracking me up. She was like, she ran full speed toward the sliding glass door and then leaped up like 4 feet in the air and sprung off of it and like went the other direction. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
She's a
cracking me up.
carnivore.
She's a carnivore now. She's eaten a bunch of seafood and she's loving life. Aw, thanks,
Oh,
Mike
thank
Cracker.
you.
I
That
appreciate
was
that so
nice.
much. Yeah, and Mike says Pixel is amazing. Anyone who compliments my cat, I gotta put the screen. Yeah, I'm such a cat person, you guys. Lioness Lifestyle was the perfect name for our show for me, being such a cat
Yeah.
person. Yeah.
Well, should we do a countdown for My Cholesterol is Fine?
Yes, and so you guys, normally at Lioness Lifestyle, we roar. And Mike said he thought he smelled a roar coming earlier because he was like, I went and came back and an episode of Lioness broke out.
That's right.
You know, I didn't mention this before, but okay, this might sound silly, but my favorite thing about Hayley's channel is her tagline. Because I have a tagline. I thought it was a pretty good tagline, but then I heard Hayley's tagline, and my tagline gave me work. So, Hayley's tagline is, my cholesterol is fine. And so, yeah, she's going to count us down, but instead of roaring, I mean, you can roar if you want to, but we're going to put a tagline together. My cholesterol is fine. Okay, are we ready?
Ready? 3, 2, 1. My
cholesterol is
fine.
Super fine.
Super fine. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Kale, that means it's fine.
Yes. Yay,
I love you. Now, there we go. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we just appreciate you guys so much. We will hopefully see you this Tuesday night. And we always say our own time zone. So if you ask Ellie, she'll say it's 8 p.m. Eastern. But I'm going to tell you it's at 5 p.m.
6 p.m.
and
Mountain.
6 p.m. Mountain on Tuesday. You guys, we have a fabulous guest. It's Indigo Neely. So get your questions ready for Indigo Neely because, she's fabulous. And I'm so excited that she agreed to come on. And she can't wait to meet with you guys also. So until Tuesday, you guys, we'll see you around.
See you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.